Hello, everyone. Dr. Eric Sanat here. Now, what if the wholesome breakfast you depend on every single morning is actually the very reason your blood sugar refuses to come down? And what if correcting this single mistake could begin shifting your numbers in just 24 hours? Have you ever considered that the breakfast you've trusted for years as healthy might be the exact culprit keeping your blood sugar elevated? I'm not referring to anything rare or complicated. I'm talking about that ordinary, modest food sitting in your fridge right now, which, when handled the wrong way, can launch your blood sugar through the roof, but when handled the right way, can become one of your strongest partners in keeping it under control. Today, I'm going to share with you everything you should know about eggs and diabetes, because there's a major truth nobody has explained to you, and it's silently impacting your numbers every single morning without you even being aware of it. I understand exactly what you're going through. You take care of yourself. You make an effort to eat right. You stick to the guidance you've been given, but your numbers stay stuck, refusing to come down the way you'd hoped. And that feels frustrating, draining. It leaves you with the sense that your body just isn't cooperating no matter how hard you try. But what I'm about to share with you today can completely rewrite that story, because the issue isn't usually your body, it's the information you've been handed. And misleading information causes invisible damage day after day. As you already know, my name is Dr. Eric Sanat, and if you'd like to receive insights like these every week, hit subscribe on this channel right now and turn on the bell so nothing slips past you. Everything I share here is created with you in mind, so you can make wiser choices about your well-being using accurate, current information. Subscribe today. It only takes a couple of seconds, and stick around till the very end because what's coming up next could literally transform your numbers as soon as tomorrow. There's something I have to walk you through before we get into eggs, because if you don't grasp this first, none of the rest will click. When diabetes is part of your life, your body struggles to handle carbohydrates. You're already aware of that. But what perhaps no one explained is that not every food influences your blood sugar in the same way. Certain foods not only avoid raising your sugar, they actually soften the impact of the other foods you consume alongside them. Protein is one of those quiet allies. When you pair high-quality protein with carbohydrates, something remarkable unfolds inside you. Protein behaves like a natural brake, slowing the speed at which sugar from those carbs flows into your bloodstream. Rather than a sharp surge that pushes your blood sugar to 200 an hour later, you experience a gentler, steadier release that your body can manage with far less strain. And eggs happen to be one of the most complete and easy-to-find protein sources around. 2 whole eggs deliver roughly 12 grams of premium protein, packed with every essential amino acid your body requires but cannot produce by itself. The glycemic index of eggs sits at 0, completely 0. Eggs on their own won't push your blood sugar up by even 1 point, but when you combine them properly, they can stop everything else you're eating from spiking it as much. And here's what nobody mentions, what I find genuinely eye-opening. Plenty of people with diabetes steer clear of eggs out of fear of cholesterol. They go months, sometimes years, avoiding them, convinced they're protecting themselves. Yet their blood sugar stays high, their energy stays low, and in some cases their cholesterol actually climbs. Why? Because what they swapped eggs for at breakfast wasn't anything better. It was something worse. It was bread, instant oats, fruit juice, boxed cereal, all rapid-burning carbohydrates that flip into sugar in no time, with absolutely nothing slowing them down because there's no protein riding alongside them. And that's precisely what unfolded with one of my most unforgettable patients. I remember her clearly. Daniel Emily walked into my office about 10 months back. She was 64 years old. She had been managing type 2 diabetes for 8 years, and she came in carrying a folder packed with lab results she'd gathered over the years. She sat down across from me, and before I could utter a single word, she quietly began to cry. Not from despair, but with that bone-deep weariness of someone who has been battling for ages and has run out of ideas. "Dr. Sanat," she said, dabbing her eyes, "I've followed every single piece of advice. I quit eating eggs almost 2 years ago because my old doctor told me cholesterol was a danger to my heart. I switched up my breakfast. I have oatmeal every day with fruit and natural juice because I was told it was the most wholesome choice. I take my pills without skipping a single dose. I walk 3 times a week, and even so, my fasting blood sugar still sits between 155 and 175 every morning. My A1C is 8.2%. And my cholesterol didn't fall, it climbed. I'm doing everything correctly and nothing budges. When she walked me through her breakfast in detail, I figured it out right away. Instant oatmeal with honey and a ripe banana, plus a glass of freshly squeezed orange juice. That breakfast, despite sounding wholesome, was actually a heavy dose of fast-absorbing carbohydrates with practically no protein to slow them down. Her blood sugar was shooting up to 210 or 220 every single morning, just half an hour after eating. And since there was no protein keeping her satisfied, by 10 a.m. she was already hungry again, hunting for something to nibble on. Her body never got a moment of rest. Her pancreas never caught a break because her blood sugar kept climbing, falling, falling, like a never-ending roller coaster all day long. I patiently explained to her what the most current science actually shows about eggs and cholesterol, because the information she'd been carrying was outdated and was genuinely hurting her. Scientific research over recent years has steadily revealed that for most people, the cholesterol you take in through food isn't the leading driver of cholesterol levels in your blood. Your liver makes cholesterol on its own, and what really moves the needle isn't eggs, it's refined sugars and trans fats. Actually, studies appearing in respected medical journals have found that eating whole eggs can improve your cholesterol picture. It can help lift HDL cholesterol, the good kind that shields your heart, and it can shift LDL particles from the small, dense type, which is more harmful, into a larger, more buoyant type, which is significantly less risky. I suggested a very straightforward change, nothing dramatic, nothing complex, just swapping out that breakfast that was sending her blood sugar soaring every morning for one centered around real protein. I walked her through how to cook eggs the right way, what to pair them with, and how many to have. 2 weeks later, she rang me up with a tone of voice that was a world apart from that first appointment. Dr. Sanat, my blood sugar after breakfast is 140, not 210, 140. I can't believe it. I checked it 3 days running just to be certain. After 1 month, her fasting blood sugar had dropped from 165 down to 142. After 3 months, her A1C went from 8.2% all the way down to 7.5%. Her LDL cholesterol, which had been weighing on her so heavily, also went down. And she shared something with me that genuinely moved me. Doctor, for the first time in years, I wake up looking forward to breakfast because I know what I'm about to eat is going to support me, not punish me 2 hours later. But hold on, because what's coming next is the practical part, and it's exactly what you need to know so you can experience this for yourself too. The first thing I'd like you to grasp about how many eggs you can eat is to release any lingering fear you might still hold. For the majority of people with diabetes who don't have serious kidney issues or other particular contraindications, eating 2 to 3 whole eggs a day is perfectly safe and actually beneficial. I say whole eggs because the yolk really matters. For decades, we were told to toss the yolk and keep just the whites. That guidance was rooted in information that modern science has now thoroughly revisited. The yolk is where the bulk of the egg's nutrients live. It holds choline, which is crucial for fat metabolism in your liver. And when you're living with diabetes, your liver needs all the help it can get. It also carries vitamin D, which according to several studies can support better insulin sensitivity at the cellular level, meaning your cells respond more effectively to the insulin your pancreas creates. It contains lutein and zeaxanthin, 2 compounds that guard your eyes from the harm chronically high blood sugar can inflict. And if there's one thing someone with diabetes needs to safeguard, it's their eyes. It also offers B-complex vitamins that fuel the nervous system, helping prevent that tingling in the hands and feet that so many people with diabetes start to notice over time. Don't throw the yolk away, eat the whole egg. The benefits live inside it. And here's what really matters, what truly is powerful, the thing that flips the script. It's not just how many eggs you eat, it's how you cook them. You can have the finest food in the world and totally wreck its benefits if you prepare it the wrong way. And sadly, the way most people prepare eggs is exactly what causes the most damage to their numbers. Frying them in heaps of oil or butter and serving them alongside white toast or flour tortillas is a combo that can drive your blood sugar up to 200 with frightening regularity. Not because the egg is to blame, but because what you stack around it is a blend of saturated fat and refined carbohydrates that briefly blocks your insulin while pushing your glucose up at the same time. The proper way to cook eggs is much easier than you might imagine. Scrambled eggs in a non-stick pan with not even a drop of oil are perfect. Eggs naturally contain enough fat on their own to keep them from sticking, Whisk them lightly, pour them into a warm pan over medium heat, and gently stir for 2 to 3 minutes until they're cooked but still soft and creamy. You can also boil them, which is the simplest and most convenient method. Drop them in cold water, bring it to a boil, and cook for 10 minutes for a firm yolk, or 6 minutes if you'd rather have a runnier center. You can prep them the night before and keep them ready to grab in the fridge. A veggie-loaded omelet is another fantastic option. Beat 2 eggs and in a non-stick pan with no oil, add fresh spinach, tomato, onion, mushrooms, or whatever vegetables you happen to have. Vegetables bring extra fiber, which boosts the slowing effect on blood sugar even more, and they add bulk so you feel full without piling on extra carbohydrates. Tell me in the comments how you typically cook your eggs because I love hearing where you're starting from so I can offer you advice that fits your particular case more closely. Now, what shapes your blood sugar the most isn't only how you cook the eggs, but what you serve them with. Avocado is the perfect partner to eggs for someone with diabetes. The healthy fat in avocado doesn't push your blood sugar up. Instead, it helps slow digestion and keep things steady. Spinach delivers magnesium, a mineral many people with diabetes are running low on, and one that plays a meaningful role in insulin sensitivity. Tomatoes, peppers, and mushrooms all make wonderful partners because they offer fiber and very few carbohydrates. This combo, 2 eggs cooked without oil, half an avocado, and a generous serving of vegetables, can hold your blood sugar steady for 4 to 5 hours. That means you'll arrive at lunchtime without that frantic hunger and without those overpowering sugar cravings that are so hard to fight off when your blood sugar has crashed. Don't drift away yet because what's coming up is something very few people are aware of, and it can make a massive difference in your morning numbers. Most people only think of eggs as a breakfast item, and while breakfast is the most strategic time to eat them, since it stabilizes your blood sugar from the very start of the day and puts a cap on the spikes that would otherwise occur if you only ate carbs, eggs at dinner offer a benefit that catches almost all of my patients off guard when I bring it up. When you eat top-quality protein at dinner instead of carbs, something significant happens during the night. Your liver, which usually pumps out glucose steadily while you sleep, does it in a more measured and controlled fashion. This can show up as lower fasting blood sugar the next morning. It's been observed that this shift can mean a 15 to 20-point difference in fasting blood sugar for some people. Picture yourself waking up tomorrow and spotting that lower number on your meter, not because you took an extra pill, but because you had 2 eggs with vegetables for dinner instead of rice or tortillas. And here's what nobody points out about the most common slip-ups people with diabetes make when they try to eat eggs the healthy way. The first is frying them, even in just a splash of olive oil, thinking that since it's olive oil, it's perfectly fine. Olive oil is wonderful when used cold over salads, but when you heat it at high temperatures for frying, it loses some of its qualities and adds extra calories and fat your body doesn't really need, particularly when the egg already comes with its own natural fat. The second slip-up is having them with fresh orange juice. Plenty of people are convinced that natural juice is wholesome and totally different from packaged juice. But for someone with diabetes, even fresh juice is liquid sugar without fiber, slipping into your bloodstream incredibly fast. A whole orange with its fiber still in place is a far better choice than juice. The third slip-up is pairing them with processed cheese or cured meats like ham or sausage. Processed cheese and deli meats are loaded with sodium and packed with additives that do nothing helpful for your blood pressure or your overall well-being. If you'd like to add cheese, go for fresh cheese or a small portion of cottage cheese. Use sparingly. I have to tell you about James Taylor because his journey perfectly captures how these tiny tweaks can completely transform someone's numbers. James Taylor is 58 years old and walked into my office 7 months ago with a look of resignation that immediately struck me. He was a soft-spoken man, a man of few words. He set his lab results down on the desk without saying anything and looked at me, waiting for me to break the silence first. His A1C was 8.6%. His fasting blood sugar averaged 178. He had been living with type 2 diabetes for 5 years and had been on metformin for 3. He told me that every morning for breakfast he ate 2 eggs fried in oil along with refried beans and 3 corn tortillas. He believed he was eating well because his meal contained eggs and beans, both protein sources. But the trouble was the cooking method and the combination. The oil used to fry the eggs, the fat in the refried beans, and the tortillas joined forces to create that troublesome mix that pushed his blood sugar up every morning. I proposed a specific and simple change. Rather than frying the eggs, he would prepare them boiled or scrambled without oil. Rather than refried beans, he would have whole beans with less fat. Rather than 3 corn tortillas, he would eat just one and bring in fresh vegetables to make up for the volume. That was the only adjustment we made to start with. 3 weeks later, James Taylor came back for his follow-up, and for the first time since I'd known him, a small but genuine smile crossed his face. Dr. Sanat, my morning numbers are between 145 and 155. They never used to drop below 170. I haven't changed anything else, just what you told me about breakfast. After 4 months, his A1C had fallen to 7.8%. His primary care doctor asked him what he had done differently, and James Taylor answered with the simplicity that defined him. I changed how I cook my eggs, doctor. That was all. But wait, because I want to give you something concrete and practical you can begin using as early as tomorrow without having to memorize anything complicated. The ideal breakfast for someone with diabetes who wants to harness the power of eggs looks like this: 2 scrambled eggs cooked without oil in a non-stick pan, or 2 boiled eggs, paired with half a ripe avocado and a generous serving of vegetables like spinach, tomatoes, or peppers. If you sense you need a little more, you can add a small slice of real whole grain bread, the kind with visible seeds and a dense texture, not the soft, fluffy variety. But eat it after the eggs, not before. If you start with the bread, your blood sugar climbs before the protein gets a chance to do its slowing work. If you start with the eggs, the protein is already on the job by the time the carbs from the bread show up, and the impact on your blood sugar is far gentler. For mid-morning, if you find yourself hungry before lunch, a hard-boiled egg prepped the night before, alongside a small handful of nuts or almonds, is a combo that hardly affects your blood sugar and keeps you satisfied without any cravings. For dinner, if you'd like to tap into the fasting blood sugar benefit I mentioned earlier, a 2-egg omelet stuffed with vegetables and no bread is a light, nourishing, and powerful way to improve your numbers the next morning. And what I'm about to share is really important, and I don't want it to slip past you. If you take metformin, eggs don't interfere with your medication in any way. You can eat them with full confidence. If you take insulin, it's important to talk with your doctor when you start switching your breakfast over to a high-protein one, because protein can make your insulin work more efficiently and your numbers may drop more than you anticipated. That's not a bad thing in itself, but your doctor needs to know so they can adjust your dose if needed. Always, always keep your personal physician in the loop about any changes you're making to your diet, especially when you're on medication. Communication with your healthcare team is a key piece of solid management. There's one more thing I want to share because it's a question I get all the time. Egg quality matters, but it doesn't have to be flawless for you to reap the benefits. Organic, pasture-raised eggs tend to carry more omega-3s and vitamin D compared to standard eggs. If they're available to you and within your budget, they're a wonderful option. But if organic eggs aren't in your price range or aren't easy to find, regular supermarket eggs are still an incredibly nutritious and beneficial food. Don't quit eating eggs just because you can't get the organic kind. The benefit of including them properly in your diet far outweighs the gap between organic and standard. I want you to walk away from this video with one thing crystal clear. Eggs aren't your enemy. They never were. What may have been the enemy without you noticing was the way you were cooking them and what you were pairing them with. When you change that, when you begin cooking your eggs without oil, when you pair them with avocado and vegetables instead of white bread and processed meats, when you bring them in not just at breakfast but as a dinner choice too, you're handing your body a real and powerful tool to steady your blood sugar in a way no pill can pull off on its own. Daniel Emily put it to me beautifully at her last visit. Dr. Sanat, I thought managing diabetes was a fight I'd never come out on top of. And it turns out part of the answer was sitting in my fridge the whole time. I just didn't know how to use it. That's exactly what I want for you. That the right knowledge hands control back to you. That every morning when you open your fridge and spot those eggs, you don't see them with worry, but with the assurance of knowing you're about to use them in your favor. Keep in mind, this video is for informational and educational purposes only. Always check with your personal physician before making any changes to your diet or treatment, because every person is unique, and what works for most might need adjusting based on your specific circumstances. If this video opened your eyes and you feel that for the first time someone laid out eggs and diabetes in a way that genuinely makes sense, I invite you to subscribe to this channel right now. Every week I share information like this, specifically crafted to help you live better with diabetes, with real data, no false promises, and no needless complications. Hit the like button if you found this useful, and pass it along to someone you know who needs to hear this today. That tiny gesture could shift the numbers of someone you care deeply about. Tell me in the comments what change you're going to make first in the way you cook your eggs. I love reading your replies and knowing this information is reaching the people who genuinely need it. Your body can respond better than you think when you give it the right information to work with. Give it that chance. This isn't about doing everything, it's about doing the right thing starting today. Your body is ready to improve. It's just been waiting for the right approach. Make this change tomorrow morning, and you might never see your breakfast the same way again. See you soon in the next one.